Results of World War II. Costs of the war. The cost of this war was that 40 to 60 million people were dead at the end of the war. As you can see from this these pie charts, as many civilians died as soldiers. This was a dramatic shift from World War I. The Soviet Union lost 18 to 20 million people. Germany lost 6 million. Japan, 2 million. China, 2 million. Britain, 400,000. And in the United States, we had 291,000 dead and 670,000 wounded. Due to the rush to produce war-related goods, as seen here in this aircraft factory, which I believe this is a picture of a factory that that made Corvettes, or started to make, was making automobiles before the war and got transitioned into aircraft. But due to the rush to produce war-related goods, 100,000 people were killed in job-related accidents in these factories. 1 million people became disabled in job-related accidents because the production pace was so high. However, the American economy was stimulated by World War II, so it grew our economy in the end. The Holocaust was a really sad part, of course, the most tragic probably part of World War II. Hitler had a policy of genocide to rid Europe of Jews, which he called the final solution. Einsatzgruppen, like depicted here in this picture, were mobile killing units sent into Russia to kill civilians, and they murdered about 1.5 million Jews. However, the Einsatzgruppen weren't killing the Jews fast enough for Hitler, so he set up concentration camps. Some camps used prisoners as slave labor. Others, did that plus just exterminated Jews. At Auschwitz, for example, more than 12,000 people were gassed, put to death per day. 12,000. 6 million Jews were killed overall during the Holocaust, and this is the equivalent of 1/3 of the world's Jewish population. After the war, there were international military tribunals. The Nuremberg trials were where the Nazis were put on trial. 24 Nazis were on trial, 12 received the death sentence, and over 500,000 Nazis were convicted at other trials. The Tokyo trials were where the Japanese were tried. Japan's wartime premier, 6 generals, and several hundred other Japanese war criminals were sentenced to be hanged. Which is kind of interesting when you think about the huge discrepancy in the number of Japanese that were given the death penalty versus the number of Germans. There's no really good answers for that, but it's an interesting historical debate. The third aspect of the military tribunals, and probably the most significant part that came out of these tribunals, was the idea, and this is what goes in quotes, merely following orders was not an acceptable excuse for committing war crimes, and individual responsibility is written into international law. So merely following orders and individual responsibility, this comes out of here. Basically, a lot of Nazis were saying, well, I was just following orders when I ordered those Jews into the gas chamber and things like that. And basically, it said, the war tribunal said, no, we are accountable for our own moral actions and immoral actions. That it is okay to disobey an unlawful order, an order that you know has you breaking the law or crossing some kind of moral boundary, committing a war crime. That you can't just be excused or absolved from your responsibility in these acts by saying that you were following orders. So that is significant. Other results of World War II were significant. For example, the GI Bill of Rights. Many veterans went to college on the new GI Bill of Rights. So really after World War II, the GI Bill of Rights, which pays for college tuition for veterans, really helps send many baby boomers to college, and large numbers go to college for the first time. The United States and the Soviet Union became the two superpowers, the two countries that are the superpowers in the world. And the United Nations was organized to be a police force for the world. The United Nations replaces the failed League of Nations, and we still have the United Nations today. So as you can see, there are many results that come out of World War II, some negative, many negative, but there were a few positive results. A booming American economy, more veterans being able to attend college, and the United Nations. It would also set us up with two superpowers, the United States and the Soviet Union, which would then lead us into the Cold War. This concludes your notes on World War II.